It's Tuesday, so that means we have some new cards to talk about, and the clan that is in the spotlight this week is none other than Narukami. Stand up! Vanguard! Hey card fighters, welcome back to a new Revealstream update video where we're going to talk about the cards that they revealed in the Tuesday Revealstream. And as most people are expecting more that the trial deck cards, and in this case the Mages one, the Oracle Think Tank cards, were going to be revealed as soon as we already saw the boss monster for Narukami. But we were surprised, and to my pleasant surprise, they decided to reveal the VR and some new cards for Narukami from the upcoming booster set of Miyaji Cardfight Club. And I'm very excited and very stoked about these new Narukami cards and how they're going to do it with the new mechanic or the new way that they're focusing with the Narukami support. And I'm very excited and very pleased with what they're going to do, because as most of you guys already know with the reveal that they already did with the rares and double rares and some of the trial deck cards, that Narukami is going to be focused around the front row of the opponent. And that was something we were already going to expect, because they were an Exo clan and they already did things in the past with the front row. But they are now going to also focus about binding. And that is something that I didn't anticipate, because binding rear guards was something that they introduced in Narukami in the G era. And not really something that they did in the past. In the past it was more of the front row attacks with Vermilion and other kinds of retire effects and stacking effects with the Eradicators or restanding and all those kinds of shenanigans. But not really retire binding, because that was a Vanquish or something. So now but this is a little bit different in the reboot. It's going to be mainly focused around immediately binding instead of retire binding, and all the effects that accompany with it, and with empty rearguard circles in the front row that will gain power with the boss monster of the trial deck and other good stuff. But they decided to introduce 3 new cards to the edition of Narukami with the reveals they already get. So let's go into those cards and see what they got and how that might be affecting and changing the way that we might going to play the clan Narukami with the upcoming boosters. So first off, we have the great one, that is Demolition Dragon. And no, this was in the past the Eradicator card, so they removed the Eradicator name of it. So maybe that's a hint that they are never going to focus on archetypes in the reboot, or that they want to remove this one from the archetype, but take it as what you think. I think they're not going to do anything about archetypes anymore, because that was a failed attempt to balance the game, and they're just going to balance the clans in their own regard, then instead splitting them up in even little tinier chunks. But let's talk about his skill. And his skill, he has 2 skills. One that's continuous. If there are no rearguards in your opponent's front row, this unit gets power plus 3k. So it becomes an 11k attacker or booster. And that's a very neat skill, because you're 12k base Vanguard. So if you put this one behind your Vanguard will always swing at 23. Meaning you will always hit a good magic number against force and also protect. But most importantly, you're hitting the force numbers, and are usually the harder number to hit for an Exo clan. So that's a great booster. But also on the rearguard circle as a booster, it's pretty nice, because if we are going to combine it with the other double rare grade one that I'm going to talk about more with the VR, then you can suddenly make a good magic number against protect with later combo attacks. But more on that later in the video. His other skill is Auto on Vanguard Circle. When that attack hits the Vanguard, draw 1 card. And honestly, this skill is, in my opinion, just a redundant skill that you probably can remove from the card, because you usually want to go first as an Exo clan, because if you don't, then you usually are going to fall behind when your opponent is going to ride to grade 2. And if you are first, then you're never going to attack with your grade 1, meaning that this skill will never activate. And even if you went second, then you can attack with it, but your opponent can just guard against it and deny this draw pretty easily, because if they just guard it with the trigger, 15k guard, they can never break through if you get a trigger. So they can deny you that pretty easily in that regard. And if you're facing against a forest clan, then going second is even worse, because the moment they ride into their 10k grade 2, you're already falling way too far behind if you want to put out enough pressure. Maybe it's not an issue for Narukami, because it doesn't look like they are focusing mostly on multi-attacking with rearguards. It's usually on retire and powering up your field, so maybe it won't be the case. But in the case of this card's second skill, I think it's not going to be used in most matches. So it's primarily used as an 11k beater or an 11k booster, and for that regard it's fine on its own, and it's a pretty decent card in that regard. Alright, the other card that we got was a grade 3, and that was the Tommix Dragon. And this one also has 2 skills. One is auto, when placed on Vanguard or rearguard circle. Cost, counterblast 1. Choose a rearguard in your opponent's front row, bind it, and this unit gets power plus 5k until the end of turn. It's just a generic bind something, get power when it's placed on the field for a counterblast 1. So cost efficient, pretty nice, gets the power, so it's a 70k beater. Put it on the rearguard or Vanguard circle, so you will always have use of this card, so it's a fine site to run and beside your boss monster, depending on what your boss monster is going to be. But the other skill is what making this card pretty damn good, and that is auto. When rode upon, call this card to the rearguard circle, and one of your Vanguards gets power plus 10k until the end of turn. So meaning if you rode this thing as first, you already can use its first skill, but then when you ride on top of it, you basically get another rearguard circle, rearguard for free. And that's a 12k unit that you get for free. And getting free rearguards in an Exo clan is always good. There is no way to say that getting free rearguards is a bad thing, and definitely not in a clan that is focused primarily on multi-attacking and filling out your field. So that is a goddamn good effect if you ask me. But the 10k is also pretty nice, but if we're going to combine it with the VR, then this card is even better. So let's take a look at the VR. Alright, so the VR for Narukami is the Tommix Dragon, and its skill is auto, Vanguard circle once per turn. When it attacks the Vanguard, counterblast 1, choose a rearguard in your opponent's front row and bind it. Cost, discard the same number card from your hand as the number of your opponent's rearguards. At the end of the battle, stand it, and until the end of turn, this unit gets power plus 5k and drive -1. So it's basically the standard version of Ziegenberg in Narukami. And we already saw how good Ziegenberg was when that card was introduced in Kagero, so we probably can deduce how good this card is going to be for Narukami. But if you combine it, if we look at it, you also get power plus 5k, so it becomes a 70k attacker on the second attack, so that's pretty good. So even if your opponent gets a defensive trigger, when you then use the booster, it doesn't really matter. But if we combine it with the other grade 3, we got 10k increase. So the first attack has a 10k increase, and the second attack has a 10k increase. So that's a plus 20k on your power output for no cost at all. And this one binds cards during the attack phase. So if you use some on-place effect to empty out your opponent's field, then maybe use Ricky to move units from the backward to the front row, then attack and then bind another card. In that way you can basically, in most scenarios, you need to discard 1 card. If it's even better, then you maybe have to discard 0 cards and you're plussing with this effect. But there is another thing that I think some people are overlooking, and that is going to make this card insane. And that's the fact that if you combine this card with the double rare that was revealed at the BCS in France, Nancy, Rising Phoenix, then we can see some insane multi-attacking from Narukami. Because what we can do is fill out the field, and if you're right on the grade 3, we have 2 Exo circles. Attack with 4 units, 1 on the Exo circle, 1 on the normal field, 1 on the normal field, 1 on the Exo circle. Then with the Vanguard, we bind the rearguard in the attack phase. The Rising Phoenix from the drop zone will go on standby. We can then call them out to the field, so if we have 4 in the drop zone, we can then call out 4 new rearguards in the front row. They all become 11k attackers. On the Exo circle, they become 22 attackers. We resolve the attacking from our Vanguard, so we twin drive. If we run front triggers, then we potentially up the power on all our Rising Phoenixes. Then we restand the Vanguard, we attack another time with the Vanguard. Maybe we get then a front trigger in that third drive check. And then we attack with all the Rising Phoenixes after that attack. And if we have the grade 1 Demolition Dragon in the back row of the Rising Phoenix in the normal circles, then those will be power up with the 11k of the grade 1 Rising Phoenix and 11k of the Demolition Dragon, making them also 22k attackers. So if we have that kind of field, then we have 4 extra 22k attackers that potentially have been powered up by triggers or front trigger. And if you add it all up, we basically have 10 attacks, where from our 2 Vanguard attacks, for the cost of 1 counterblast, depending on if we need to use more counterblast to empty out our opponent's field. But you basically only need 1 counterblast, and that's the counterblast for your Vanguard attack that you bind 1 during the attack phase. And that's pretty insane, and pretty good for only one counterblast. And that's not even, you don't have to use some weird combination or interaction to make that happen. It's just in a normal gameplay, then if you're focusing on something else. And that's pretty insane, because in most Exo clans, you need to focus on that kinds of play if you want to make such a big swing turn. But for Narukami, it just comes natural by just using your skills. And that's pretty goddamn good. Because the Rising Phoenix can keep coming back and back and back. Because if you call to the field and your opponent then retires it or it attacks it, yeah, fine, it goes to the drop zone. But the next turn I'm gonna bind something again and it comes back for free. It's going to be insane. And this time drill is basically the Ziegenberg, as stated before. And the Ziegenberg has always been a very strong pressure card. And now that we get it in an Exo clan that can also pressure out with multi-attacking, I think Narukami is looking pretty great. We have a lot of power-upping on the field. We have a lot of just the focus of the clan itself isn't about multi-attacking. It's about retiring, emptying your field, and then attacking with higher numbers. And we can multi-attack because of the Stunning Drill Dragon and because of Rising Phoenix. That can make the clan giving that little edge to basically end all of the curse of Exo clans. Because Exo clans always have been the curse about triggers is going to be the end of it. And we have seen it with Murokumo, that they are the one that can basically end that cycle. But the other clans like Gold Paladin and all the Pale Moon and all the other clans still struggles with having issues with triggers. And as it looks now, and we only have seen, what, 6, 7 cards for Narukami, I think they are looking pretty great. And this VR is going to be insane. And I'm very happy with these cards. And also in Premium, it's going to be spicy. If you combine the Rising Phoenix with something as Voltage, then those extra multi-attacking are not just 22k attacks or something. They might become 70k attacks depending on how many cards you just bind it. And also, the problem with the GB8 was that you emptied your field and you couldn't really build up your field even though everything has some power. If you then combine it with Rising Phoenix, you can then easily fill out the field once again and you probably fix the problem. And Rising Phoenix is definitely a card that fixes the issue of Narukami, because Narukami usually has a lower hand size, and when they destroy our field, we probably can never come back from it. But with Rising Phoenix, we can generate infinite free units on the field. And infinite free units is always good in Vanguard. So it basically is the counter to Shadow Paladin. Yeah, you retire something on my field. Fine. Oh, you retire 3 Rising Phoenix with Phantom Blaster Dragon. That's fine. Next turn, counter blast 1. Bind one of your Jaegers. And look, they're already all back. Oh, I need to retire one. Well, I choose my Rising Phoenix. I will choose my Rising Phoenix. I will choose my Rising Phoenix. Go ahead. So, I'm pretty hyped. Pretty stoked on these cards. And cannot wait until we see the rest of the set. And also, of the people that are curious about the other cards, there was one interesting card that was revealed at the end. And that was the Corin Imaginary Rare of Blonde ASL. And if I'm correct, it's not going to be the only one. I thought there's going to be 2 Imaginary Rares in this set. So we need to wait for the other one. But we know that one of those is going to be ASL with Corin for Gold Paladin. So Gold Paladin players, eat your heart out. You now have the VR, the SVR, Imaginary Rare, and Ultra Rare, and also the Ultra Rare Rainbow variant. So go nuts with all your rarities. But as always, guys, leave a comment down below to let me know what you guys think of the upcoming cards for Narukami, what you think of this VR and the other cards that they got in this set, in this review, and for the trial deck they got, with all the different interactions they have with the boss monster that is Composure Dragon and this one. So let me know in the comments down below how you think about what Narukami is going to bring for Exos and Vanguard in general. And otherwise, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel and the bell button to be updated for upcoming videos, and especially the videos later this week, because we're going to analyze the cards of the upcoming extra booster Answer of Truth that just got released in Japan, but we still need to wait till January. And after that, next week, we're going to cover all the decks that you can build with it. So Gear Chronicle, Genesis, and Great Nature are going to be tackled. And maybe even a premium deck for a certain clan from that set. but still need to wait. But hit the bell button if you're interested in those videos. And as always guys, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and see you guys in the next one.